Namaskaram. Welcome to the a session with the Vainika to understand his life journey with the Veena. Today we have with us Dr. Durgaprasad, a professor of radiology in Geetham University and also a Vainika. We speak to him to understand his journey with the music and how he could be successful in both academics as well as on the Veena. Namaskaram, Durgaprasad Garu. Thank you very much for being here with us.
Namaskaram.
So to begin with, music is everything in life. Music is beyond your thought. Music is beyond your life. It is something amazing which God has given to the humanity. And you being a doctor, you have been associated with the music for a long period of time. We'd be interested to understand, how did this journey of music started in your life? When did it start?
At the outset, let me first congratulate the entire team for making this happen. We have had several sessions earlier, and post-COVID, I think God has been kind enough to restart the whole process of the journey of Veena in its fullest glory. Thank you very much for that. It all started because I grew up in a household where people were interested in music, but nobody was a musician. People were more into academics. But the name of one Sri Chittibabu used to resonate in a very big way in the household, he being a family friend. So it's like Sachin Tendulkar growing up hearing to Sunil Gavaskar in a way. Okay. So, I have had, my dad was having a lot of transfers, and finally we settled down in Vizag, and then I was very lucky enough to be under the tutelage of Madam Srimati Pappu Padmavati Paramahamsa, under whom I have spent close to 3.5 decades.
So at what age did you start learning?
I started learning Veena from the age of 11. Initially, I was a vocalist. I used to have, this tonsillitis problem. So, I was not able to continue. I was a kind of single octave singer, to say the least. But then that prompted me to take up instrument, and because I've been hearing to the greatness of Veena in the household, and I was fortunate enough to meet my guru, Srimati Pappu Padmavati Paramahamsa. And since then, I never looked back.
That is interesting. And did you ever think that you will be a doctor and a musician together?
That was partly possible because of the fact that the first physician musician that I have known this country has ever seen, Padma Bhushan, Sangeeta Kalanidhi, Dr. Sripada Pinakapani, happened to be an examiner for my father during his MBBS days.
Oh God!
So I did hear about him, and I thought I would definitely become a doctor. I was not very sure that I would become a musician. That much is guaranteed, in the sense that one deals with motion and the other deals with emotions. So I was not pretty sure that you can reach to that extent, to that level of proficiency in music. And to say the least, I owe the entire lot to my guru. Absolutely no confusion about it.
Coming back to your learning process with your guru, you started learning Veena after your vocal because you could not pursue it because due to tonsillitis. Now, how was the lessons planned with you? How did the lessons go? The structuring of the lessons, the pattern of lessons that was followed, and how did the sadhana was planned?
Let us take the present day scenario for a second before I go back to my good old days. That was the time when we never had any gadgets. whatever the guru teaches, you will have to put it on paper or put it into your human brain, which is your so-called human computer. To any place of guru, wherever the guru stays, you have to go by probably a bicycle or by walk. We never had this much of
Facilities.
options, facilities. And after the teaching process was over, by the time you reach home, you would have practiced it mentally several times. What I'm trying to say is
Correct.
that the time I could spend to myself was huge.
Correct.
And and the moment you come back home after the school, and mind you, we never left out. We never were left out on games. After coming back home, we used to play. Then we used to practice. I used to go to the class in the morning at around 7 o'clock, and my school I used to leave by 8:30. So that 1.5 hours was solid enough.
Oh, good.
It is only after I started playing well that my teacher came to my house and told my parents that I should no longer play cricket because my fingers might be hurt and that might hinder my
Correct.
progress in music.
Correct. Very true. Correct.
So the point which I'm trying to make is because you never had any option of recording the teaching session,
Never. Never.
you are forced to focus on the class on hand. Make sure that you imbibe whatever the guru is trying to teach you,
Correct.
and then comprehend it. That comprehension was done while I was coming back home, and by the time I was ready for the practice in the evening, probably I have learnt it mentally.
Yes. Correct. That is, mental pruning was very strong. The amount of the mental ability that you would develop by remembering it and again and again and again and again reproducing at home, it would have really helped you to reproduce very much in your medical profession also when you entered into
Exactly, because this is one point which I would make it necessary to make sure that people understand. It is because of my music background, the medical journey has become very easy.
Oh, that's correct.
What we tend to develop something called the gut feeling.
Correct.
That gut feeling is a part and parcel of your training.
Correct. Very true. Now, the structuring of the lessons, coming back to the structuring of the lessons, your teacher comes from a very good parampara of Vizag. Vizag has
What we
produced
call the Vijayanagaram style of
Vijayanagar has produced a lot of Vainikas. I'm struck with the amount of Vainikas, the quality Vainikas Vijayanagaram has produced is really astonishing. And most of them are excellent Vainikas. There's no second thought about it. And see, the systematic training, is it planned in a normal structured pattern like Sarale, Jhanti, Varse, Alankaras, or is there anything that is addition added to it?
The whatever you have stated is absolutely true in the sense that we have to follow the structured protocol, that they will have to start with Sarali, then go to the Janta, then go to the Alankara, then go to the Pillari Geetam. I mean, people might say that it is a laborious process, but you have to undergo the labor pains to have a delivery. I am a doctor. Without undergoing labor pains, you will never have a proper delivery. Very simple.
Okay.
You will have to have the 9 months of pregnancy to have a proper child. So the protocol, which has been time tested since times immemorial, needs to be followed. There is no confusion. So that is point number one. Second point is that in the so-called styles of Veena that we see today, we have the Mysore style, the Tanjore style, the so-called Karaikudi style, and of course the Vijayanagaram style. There is a lot of importance that is attached to the right hand in terms of plucking. So the way you place your wrist, the way you place your fingers, the way you pluck towards the palm, the way you place the wrist in a very nice, comfortable manner on the resonator box. These are the things that are given utmost importance. And probably this is a school which uses close to about 8 or 10 varieties of Me Too. There is a difference in the way you pluck for swaram and the way you pluck for sahityam.
Correct.
Supposing there is a dirgham, so you pluck it from a height. While when you are playing sarvalagu or the muktai swarams, then you just don't lift the finger at all from the string.
Correct.
This enables you to have control over the rhythm and clarity.
Correct.
So this is a particular kind of practice that is very unique to Vijayanagaram, whether it is in Veena, for that matter, even violin. If you take Dwaram Venkateswara Naidu, very school of violin, the way they used to bow, only the wrist was in place. It was working. The elbow and shoulder were never in motion. It's like that. And while you see the Mullapudi kind of style of mridangam playing, the same story. They would play like that. The wrist is always fixed.
Correct.
So these are some certain things which allowed me to nurture my innate music talent. And by the way, there is a small snippet that I would wish to share, that the Vijayanagaram style probably originated from Mysore only. One of the court musicians from Mysore Maharaja visited Vijayanagaram and settled there. It is his descendants who would represent in the latter years the so-called Vijayanagaram style of Veena playing. Veena Venkata Ramana Das is the person that people refer to as the father of so-called Vijayanagaram style of Veena playing.
That's very true. He was a court musician in Maharaja of Mysore.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, see, it's a way of relating people, relating styles.
Correct.
Basically, we are all Nadopasana. Whatever is the style you follow, the end result is what it matters.
So, coming back to the style of playing, coming back to training methodology. See, the gamakams are the vital part of our Karnataka music. For expression, gamaka is a must. So it is like the sugar, how much should be added to coffee in order to be sweet, in order to be tasty. So like that, the gamaka, when did it start in your learning process, and how it was trained?
Very nice question. In fact, I very much remember two Geetams. The first one was the first Geetam that we are taught. So it is Sari Ma Pa Da Sa Sa Da Pa Ma Ga Ri Sa. The first gamakam that was introduced to me was when I am playing the Avarohana to slightly middle with the Gandharam, to ensure that it does not go beyond Suddha Majjamam. It has to touch that sound and you are back at Re and Sa. So that was the first time that I was introduced to the basic structure of a gamakam. And the second Geetam that I always remember is Arabhi.
Okay.
So the Magari, that expression was for the first time introduced to me as a student by my guru in Arabhi. So my personal experience is that these two Geetam are the way that a student is allowed to get a first taste of gamakam.
Correct.
Because Arabi, I tell you, it is extremely difficult when you are playing Sani Dapa and Magari Sai.
Correct.
It's a very, 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 very delicate thread on which you have to walk.
If you don't play the gamaka while the Avarona, it doesn't look like an Arabi at all.
Arabi, and
It is very
It's like whatever you said. It should be like sugar. It should be tasty, but it should not be sweet or sour. I mean,
That's correct.
sweet or on the other side of it.
So, see,
So it's like wearing ideal size shoes.
correct. Very true. So, the Geetams, Vardam, Kirtana, these are different levels of learning altogether. So, how many Swarjatis, how many Geetas were taught to you?
I think I remember, including Lakshana Gitas, maybe close to 30.
Excellent.
Swarajiti is about 10. And of course, Varna number is endless. Whichever Varnam has come into the existence in that part of the world. Because certain Varnams are popular in your area, some
Correct.
are popular in our area. It's like that. Now, of course, with the advent of so many electronic gadgets, we can make use of that aspect of the modern technology
Correct.
to learn new things from a new school.
Technology has helped us a lot, indeed. It is one of
There's no denying the fact.
There is no denying the fact. See, now, coming back to your style of playing, you have a unique style of playing, which is evident in your playing. And see, your guru has taught you to a certain extent, and the further development happens with the student sadhana. Any student, any guru cannot completely say that she is complete a product of mine, because the sadhana is one which is going to shape you as an artist. Today you are an artist. You are an A-graded artist in All India Radio. And you are also performing. See, the performance is a different subject altogether. Learning is a different subject altogether. When it comes to performance, when was your first performance on the stage?
It was while I was doing my 12th standard.
Was it your guru's plan, or it was again in some other occasion?
No.
It was
It is only after my guru had given green signal that when an opportunity was presented, it's only after she told my parents that I am good enough to perform for 1 hour, I was allowed onto the stage. Absolutely no confusion about
But
it.
you never asked your guru, or your parents never asked your guru that
Never.
When is my guru? When is my son going to perform?
Never.
The reason why
Never,
I'm
even
asking,
in
the reason why I'm asking you
I
this question is, I'll come to the point, because today's world is going in a very fast rate, and at the end of the day, every parent, due to the adverse of media, the moment they have the kids singing some small thing, they put it on the YouTube, 1 lakh views, and something. So, don't you think that the learning process is just like your studies? You cannot become a degree holder when you are born. It takes you at least about 21 or 22 years of learning in order to become a degree holder. It is not that you are born with a degree. 1 year you have been born and so you have entered into your education. Next year you are not a degree holder. So performance is like a degree. So you have to spend number of years, do the sadhana, then the guru judges, yes, he is ready to take the degree course. That degree course is concert. Today, don't you think there is an urgency of that?
See, this will lead to only short-term goals. You cannot be a long-distance runner. You cannot. You will be exhausted within no time. The sadhana is common for any field of life, whether it is sports, medicine, music, engineering, anything. These are fixed protocols. You can modify. You cannot alter the protocols, which are set, which are time tested. I'll tell you. In fact, I had an opportunity to play with Sri Chittibabu in his HMV record Temple Bells, even before I gave my first concert. And Sri Chittibabu spoke to my guru before selecting me.
Oh,
He
good.
said that, would you mind to send your student? I know he plays well. It would be nice that he spends time with me. My guru was such a broad-minded individual. She said no issues. But I waited for 2 more years before I gave my first concert. Now, the second issue is that uh, you may have double promotion or triple promotion, but some basic time has to be spent in learning. And as you have rightly pointed out, by 21 years you can gain a degree. There is a difference in the way you are taught. I'm happy that you are touching upon the teaching aspect in a big way. Supposing when you are with the pharmaceutical industry, supposing there is a class of some drugs or something, the teacher would give a lecture. If you do not understand, maybe he or she might spend some time with you, or ask you to just go through the textbook or now internet, or go through the presentation PPT or whatever. But that is not the case with the music teacher. Music teacher has to make the student understand the sound and reproduce it properly. Up till that time, the teacher continues to teach. So there is a basic difference between the way a teacher teaches you in your academics and a teacher teaches you in music. You cannot compare. A music teacher is the most superior, most supreme, because the till the time you understand the sound and reproduce it, the teaching needs to be repeated hundreds of times sometimes.
That's a great sentence from you. I totally agree with you because it's the toughest thing. Now, you pointed out very important facts in your answer. Now, you have studied medicine and you have also done your MD. Now, I would ask a question. Have you done MD in Veena?
Yeah, being an A-grade artist, I think I've done beyond. I have no idea. No, I'll tell you. There is a.
I will ask you another question. I will
Please.
reframe it further. MD, you have finished it and you are practicing it. After becoming an MD in pathology or
Since
you are
20 years
radiology,
now, 20 years. I'm into
you have done your MD in radiology and you are practicing
and I've
as a
been
radiologist.
practicing radiologist for 20 years now.
And
Yes.
20 years, okay? And the systematic development process as a radiologist, from the day you are born as a radiologist till today, has been a big journey for you.
Huge journey.
Very huge journey because you learn every day. You are a learner every day because you study different cases. In study, you don't do that. Similarly, in case of music, you started giving concert and you are now a perfect performer on the stage. The amount of sadhana that is required in music to reach this stage of a performer, what you are today, after spending 30 years in your music field, and a similar 20 years of life with the radiology, how different does it make? What difference does it make? Sorry.
Two things. One particular statement I've come across some time back made a hell lot of impact on my journey. That practice makes man perfect is probably not the right statement. Zakir Hussain, the great maestro, said it is perfect practice that makes man perfect. So
Correct.
the point which I'm trying to make here is that the practice should also be a structured practice.
Correct.
I'll tell you, because of the less amount of time that I had at my disposal, when I couldn't practice for hours together, but uh, I developed a technique of kind of self postmortem. I would rather use that harsh word.
Don't use the word postmortem.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is the moment, see, I used to record whatever I felt I was playing nicely. Then I used to take that cassette to my teacher. I used to make her hear to it. She used to point out certain, not technical flaws, but some places where I could have done better. And I used to hear it for the second time, third time. So it was kind of structured introspection,
Correct.
absolute introspection. It helped me in a very big way. So that kind of it is a self learning after a while. Now, in fact, let me put it the other way around. Today, the National Medical Council, which is the boss council of medical profession, says that they don't today require teachers, they require the people who are guides.
Oh, good.
Information is available in plenty, but you do not have the discretion to use it to your benefit or to the benefit of the society at large. So the teacher today has donned the role of a guide. I was very lucky that my teacher was not only a teacher to me, but she was also a guide. She allowed me to try other genres within the framework of our system. If I felt that I have come across a new Sangati sung by somebody or played by somebody in the previous day's concert that I attended, I used to tell her I felt this happy. She said, try it. Then, in a way, we used to make it our own after a while. And
Correct.
people would not recognize that I have taken this from some other text or from some other artist. In this context, I would want to add a small point. When we were young, we used to watch a lot of concerts by great Vidwans in Vizag. And we used to sit on the ground, on the floor. We never had these
Cheers.
nice chairs and all, easy chairs.
Correct.
And we had the great opportunity of having eye to eye contact with the
Correct.
artist.
Correct.
He was not on the big stage that he's away from me and I would be munching something, drinking Coca-Cola and then watching. It's not a film that I've gone there to watch. I've gone there to learn something from that program.
Correct.
So this is something the newer generation are missing. You have to be as nearer to the artist as possible to notice even his mannerisms for that matter, and how is he conversing with his co-artist, how is he conversing with the audience with his music.
Okay.
This contact is somehow lost. Otherwise, you can as well hear to him, to that gentleman in your own house on a beautiful music deck. This is something which I think the present generation are missing and messing also.
So, coming back to my question, the
Okay.
difference of being a doctor after 21 years of experience or 30 years of experience and a concert musician of 30 years of experience, what is that what is that difference that you see between a music journey and your medical professional journey?
Absolutely, there is no difference in the way the journeys are being continued. If you use the word it in English, in the grammar, we use a word present perfect continuous tense. It is present, it is perfect, it is continuous tense. The only difference, if at all, see, I'll tell you, in radiology, we deal with contrast. In fact, you have got on my background, this is one of my very favorite slides that I had done a CT scan of the Veena and
I'll
then
come to that later.
compared it with the-
I'll come to
I mean,
that.
that is background I had. No, why the reason why I'm pointing it out is that you can see the structures in the backdrop as black and white. So that is the contrast. You give some medicine and then take CT scan, that is contrast. So radiology is full of contrast. Music is full of contrast.
Correct.
Life is full of contrast at the end of the day.
Correct.
So the way I could integrate both the systems was with the word contrast. Only difference, if at all, I have found in the last 30 years is that One is emotion free, the other is emotion full.
Correct.
If the baby is crying, it should not stop me from performing a test.
How do you balance
So,
this variation in emotions? Because, see, most of the time, from morning till evening, you are a doctor. Suddenly, you have to enter the concert. And you have to change your emotions because in Kirtanas, you have to cry. Then only you can play, deliver it on the
that's what I'm
Veena.
saying. That's
If
what
you
I'm
don't do
saying.
the cry, you
Now,
cannot present it on the Veena. If you don't have
correct.
that emotions. So, give me some exact information how this shift between the emotions takes place between one materialistic approach, another one with a spiritual approach, and one, as you said, it is emotional, one is non-emotional. How does this balance takes place? How you are able to balance it?
Yeah. It's a kind of, what should I say, my life secret in a way. But I'll tell you a simple thing. It is very easy for me to perform a concert after I come back from the hospital. If I'm physically okay, in the sense I'm not too exhausted there, that shift takes place maybe in 10 minutes time. The moment I tune the instrument, I'm already into that, and the concert goes on. But the converse is not true. It is extremely impossible, extremely difficult to go to the hospital after a concert.
That's what I was asking you.
It is extremely difficult because I faced it several times. And in fact, I'll tell you one more point. So my usual practice hours are late in the night. I practice from about 11 o'clock or so. That's the only time I feel free. I practice from 11 to 12, like that, or sometimes from 10 to 12. And there were times when I used to get calls from the hospital. After you played the Pallavi of a Kriti, you get a call. You have to go to the hospital. That is your profession. You cannot say no. And after coming back from the hospital, I never used to complete the Kriti. I was, well, I mean, bahut ho gaya hai. Was done with that. Now, I noticed that this is happening rather regularly, and I took a clue from the Nadaswaram artists. In our area, during marriage, the Nadaswaram artist will be playing at the background.
Yeah.
The Pandit ji would ask the Nadaswaram artist to stop. He would stop there. Then he would say, "Come on, start." The greatness of the Nadaswaram artist is that he would start from the place where he had left earlier with the same enthusiasm. This I got a clue when I visited one marriage. I mean, I've gone to several marriages, but this particular incident
Eye
made a
opener.
very major eye opener. I was so impressed with the way. I'm not talking about his musical genius and things like that, but the passion with which he played,
Correct.
despite the fact that he was stopped several times during the Pallavi. The Pallavi was not done with. So that was the time I realized that whatever may be the situation, I need to first finish it off. So you have the radio concerts in the morning. You play in the morning, and then to get back to the hospital is dreadful, to say the least. You never feel like going back to the hospital because you have, in the 1.5 hours or so, you have reached a mental state that you don't want to come down.
Correct.
You want to have it to be continued for some more time, which is not possible.
That state of mind itself is totally different. It is
Different.
not.
But I have trained myself. It has been a difficult thing, but yeah, I can switch over with ease. It's a kind of all-rounder, like some Kapil Dev for that matter. One is that, well, I'll tell you, a part of it can be God-given, but there is a significant chunk you need to develop by observing people, by observing your peers, your seniors, your gurus. So there has been see, but the gentleman whom I referred to earlier, Dr. Sripad Pinakapani, he was a physician, he was a musician, he produced several MD general medicine physicians, he produced the greats of South Indian
Artist.
music artists, and he was a photographer.
He was an
He had
author. He has written
author,
books.
and he had six-pack body. He had a gym in his house. He had a dark room for taking out photographs. He was president of the Lawn Tennis Association. He was an ardent cricket follower. So I was lucky enough to have met this institution pretty early in my life. I won't call them individuals; they are
They
institutions.
are institutions. There is no second thought about it.
There is no second thought. The passion that they had. So at the end of the day, the single point that I've understood is you need to have discretion and passion. That's all, nothing else.
And it's the mindset of learning every day. It is not that thinking
Yes,
that
yes.
I'm a learned man, I'm a doctor, I'm a radiologist,
No,
I'm a
no.
musician. This I, if it is removed, then it gives you lot of options for learning and proceeding. That is one of
It's
the
a
reason. That is one of the best thing I've seen with you. Whenever you speak to me, never you use the word I. I know this, I know that, I know that. Never I've heard these sentences with you, which is one best part of your life, which I've liked very much.
you're always grounded because you're lucky to have met those stalwarts pretty early in your life. You know where the difference is huge. Simple.
Correct.
But the other side of the story is that, as you have pointed out, there is a Lakshmana Rekha between being confident and being overconfident.
Correct.
And unless and until, and as an artist, I tell you, that is the impact that you have on your studies.
Correct.
Unless and until you are confident about that particular stanza, you will not try to attempt it on the stage.
Correct.
Otherwise, one great man had told that people practice on the stage. When you would end up practicing on the stage instead of performing.
Correct.
So that little level of what should I say, constructive arrogance is acceptable in the sense that otherwise, I mean, you don't expect me to write on a piece of paper a report that I'm confident about.
Correct.
Now, everything is a new thing for me on any given day.
Everything
Even
is
the
new.
textbooks,
Correct.
in the textbooks which mention about certain diseases are those diseases that were seen by that particular author. That's all.
Correct.
He has not seen my patient.
Correct. Correct.
He has not heard my Sankarabharanam.
Correct.
He has not felt my feelings.
Correct.
So there is a connect with the disconnect.
Excellent way of putting it. I totally agree with you. So in continuation with respect to the conversations that we have been doing, your association with the Veena Tattva Prakashika has been for about 3, 4, this is the third year, I suppose, if I am correct. And you have presented various subjects in the conference, and everything has been for the first time in Veena Tattva Prakashika, whatever you have done it. And could you share your experience with the Veena Tattva Prakashika?
Yeah. See, when you have asked me to come out to Bangalore for the conference, you suggested that it would be better if I do something to relate my profession and my passion. So that was the time I did think about it for a while, and I came up with the idea that maybe we can do a CT scan of the Veena and then compare it with the human body. So the genesis of that particular, image-assisted radiology or image-assisted imaging started with the conference at Bangalore with Veena Tattva Prakashika. There is it gave me new way of looking at life, my professional life, and as well as the life with my musical passion. So it was presented for the first time in the conference, and of course subsequently I started developing it in a different direction as well. But the genesis of that particular idea was definitely suggested by you, in the sense that you thought maybe, although it was a weird idea to start with, but maybe the Almighty took it to a different level. For the first time I saw my Veena in the form of a CT scan image.
I exactly remember because in Chennai, when we met for the concert of Vidwan Kanna and Balakrishnan, he
Exactly.
introduced me to you, and he said, "You are a doctor and
Yes.
radiologist." I requested you. I've been thinking on these lines. Can we do a study of the vertebral column? They say that 24 frets of the vena is equal to 24 joints of the vertebral column. Can we do a study on that? Can you present a paper in our Veena Tattva Prakashika? You gracefully accepted it and you presented it very wonderfully in our conference. And it was a huge success because people
And
have
as you have already pointed out, it was for the first time. It was for the first time that we have given it a scientific color, so to say. Everybody
exactly.
knows it since times immemorial.
Veena is not just an instrument, it is a science altogether. And it has various dimension of studying. That's the main focus of Veena Tattva Prakashika. And coming to your next journey with Veena Tattva Prakashika, you were also part of it in the next subsequent conference. And you have presented papers in it. Can you please share some experience about it?
Yeah, that was the time that I presented a paper on MRI brain and how does it react with various emotions presented through various ragas, in the sense that the three emotions of sadness, happiness, and a sense of prostration before the Lord. We took three ragas, that is Mohana, Sivaranjani, and Vasanti. The idea of taking those three ragas is that you just alter one note. You alter the Gandhara, it becomes Sivaranjani. You alter the note of Daivata, it becomes Vasanti.
Correct.
So, physics-wise, the difference in the frequency is hardly anything. It is between the note and the next note. But the emotional difference that we brought out was fantastic. Now, another point which I tried in that particular study is that it is not the raga that is it's not the raga that is solely important. It is the emotion that you bring out through that raga. What I am trying to explain here is every raga has all the emotions in that. Certain emotions are easy for us to project through a particular raga. Not that there are no sad ragas, there are no happy ragas. It is God's creation. Every raga has all the traits that we can come across. But what we tried was that mood was presented through that raga. That is the point which I am trying to say. I am not.
Correct.
I am no way suggesting the difference, because the reason why I had to talk at length about this is that people are now in the so-called musical therapy market, if I use the word, although it is little rough. They are saying you sing this raga, this roga will go off. It's not that simple. It is the emotion that is important.
Correct.
And with that, what we did was we did the MRI of the brain and then noted which part of the brain was reacting to which emotion. And in the same session, I in fact presented a paper on types of Tanam playing.
Correct. Very, very true.
Yeah.
Because we had requested Dudu Sitaramaya Garu to present it, but it was your sudden request for you, and you gracefully accepted it and immediately presented it on the stage. That was very nice of you. We remember it very much. And since you pointed out very important thing here about music therapy, I would like to ask you a question about it. See, I have been working on music therapy for a long period of time, and with the various analysis. In my analysis, I have found that, see, the ragas, in total, every swara has emotion. But every raga, it's a total summation of the note. Total summation of the note is the raga's frequency. If you say that a person who is diabetic, if its sugar reduces, or a person who is hypertensive, his BP will reduce. If you listen to certain raga, you cannot commonalize it for all the people.
It will never happen. It will never happen.
Why I am asking you this question is because, see, there is a wholesome frequency of a body. Every body has a wholesome frequency emitting response. And if you get a disease, if you are suffering from any ailment, that frequency varies. It is not same as that, because
Exactly.
it is not common. So we should have a common measuring system of a system in which you measure the frequency of the body response, what that body frequency is responding to, and then correlate it with the music that you are presenting it.
Comfortable hearing too. I would use the word you're happy hearing.
Correct.
Because
Because
we
being
tried one
musicians,
particular study.
being
Yes.
musicians, we have seen
Yes.
certain times when you are not well, when you start playing the raga, you don't feel that you want to play that raga.
The reason is this is beyond science. The music therapy which we are talking about is probably beyond science, and our understanding is definitely limited. We have not reached a stage to understand it in its totality.
Yes.
Because for you to understand music therapy, you should first understand the raga per se. Raga is like Vibgr, the rainbow. So you club all these 7 colors, you get only white color. So it is for you to take out the individual emotions from the given frequency. The other point, which if I may add, it also depends on the mental state you are in. Now,
Correct.
we tried one particular study whether the fetus in the abdomen, in the mother's womb, does it react? How does it react? When does it react? Because when you use the word liquor, that is the fluid around the fetus when it is in
Yes.
the womb.
Yes.
In certain conditions, when the fluid content is less, the activity of the fetus is limited because there is limited space. So we can actually excite the fetus by making the fetus hear to some musical sound, not sound, some musical sound, by putting some apparatus on the mother's abdomen. And we have done that in various medical institutes. But the take home message there is that if the mother sings, she need not be a musician. The fetus has reacted far superiorly than you putting up a fantastic Sankarabharanam ragam. What I am trying to say is,
Correct.
there is
Absolutely
an
correct.
emotional connect there. I mean, my point of contention here is there is an emotional emotional connect. Other point is that once the baby is born, most of the babies smiled when they heard the mother's sound, mother's voice.
Correct.
It is like your Abhimanyu story only, in the sense that after 24 weeks of gestation, definitely the fetus reacts to external sounds. Now
Absolutely.
we are not making a sound. We are putting it in a musical manner. So I mean, I'm very clear in what I'm trying to convey.
No, it's absolutely correct. There's no second thought about it. See, when to understand the healthy fetus, we measure its heartbeat frequency. When
Exactly.
you say that heartbeat frequency, there is frequency. What is frequency related to? Nadam, a sound.
Ante.
And that frequency should have some responding frequency from the external media which it is hearing to.
And one more point in this context I would like to make is that as you are mentioning the frequency, now the sound intensity also makes a lot of difference. Something which is comfortable to me in the audible range, you might not like it. You might feel it like noise.
Correct.
So music therapy can be counterproductive if you are converting music into noise.
Correct.
What they say is about 60, 40 decibels is the comfort zone, but for 40, 45 max.
Yes. And music therapy needs to evolve much higher with Bharata
Exactly.
and India is concerned.
Very much.
In Western music, if you have a comparative study of the Western music and Karnataka music, we have microtones and semi-microtones involvement in playing of any raga. You don't play any raga plainly at all. There's no.
Because ours is a melodic music, melody
Yes,
oriented music. And
absolutely.
they're being a harmony oriented music. There is a huge
Yes,
difference there.
yes. With respect to that, if you are not actually measuring that semi-microtones, if you don't involve that semi-microtones or microtones, and give a separate study, see, when you have a Todi or Rag, Gandhara of Todi, which is neither Gatu nor
Yeah.
Gavan,
Yes,
it is
yes.
in between, and
It is a totally unique thing for any form of music.
any
You
form
have
of
no
music.
comparison to Todi in any form of world music.
It is like that. And second thing is that Gandhara, which frequency you are. See, we say that we don't have E sharp, Shruti. You remember? We don't have E sharp.
Exactly.
We
Exactly.
don't have B sharp. Why you don't have B sharp? Why you don't have B sharp? Why you don't have E
It
sharp?
doesn't fit into. Yeah, it doesn't fit that way. Finish.
It is like that. So, in Gandhara of Todi or the more in Ananda Bhairavi, the beautiful Nishada, which you evolve in Nadara, in Gandhara of the Ananda Bhairavi. And
Yes.
these beautiful nuances that you give has lot of emotional touches, which gives wholesome effect in your brain. And
Exactly.
last year, when you presented that conference, that Mohana Raga and
And
Vasanti,
Sivaranjani. Yeah.
Vasanti and Shivaranjani, a
Sivaranjani.
comparative
Exactly.
study of MRI. I hope, did you do the fMRI for it?
FMRI. It is functional MRI. Correct.
Functional MRI. Functional
Exactly.
MRI has a distinguished feature of a study where you have a specific area of brain which can easily, you can study the brain area which
The
is
logic is very
responding
simple.
exactly to that.
That part of the brain which is responding to that form of music
Yeah,
will require more oxygen.
yeah.
The physics principle is called BOLD, BOLD. So the oxygen demand in that area increases. Because the oxygen demand increases, it is depicted as a color coded image. So wherever there is activity, you get color there. Finish. And to add to the Veena Tattva Prakashika's, what should I say, influence on my evolving as evolving as a person who is trying to admixture the professional life as well as the passion life, is that this time I would be as it has already been shown in the invitation, that I would be presenting the the study of upper limb muscles in the plucking techniques. And I should upfront tell that this is an observational study. I have observed several artists. I have checked old videos. I have checked their present artists and how they are placing the wrist.
Correct.
And if you remember, last time we were discussing about the length of the dandi.
Correct.
In fact, one of the researchers that time were presenting as to how to sit while you are performing, not to have backache.
That is the physiotherapy session we had.
Yes, I remember that. So we were talking about that, and we were also talking about the diameter of the veena, the resonator box, with reference to the finger length.
Correct.
So basically, we have this particular Veena Tattva Prakashika provides a platform for people to have lateral thinking.
Absolutely. That is the whole idea about it. And
abstract thinking. And it is a kind of professional introspection everybody is going through.
That's the whole idea of Veena Tattva Prakashika, Lakshmi Narasimha has planned for. And one thing that I was very much interested in your studies, always you've been doing it. The cartilage and the bones that is involved in the fingers movement.
Yes.
This is unique for Veena players because
exactly.
And it has lot of the way we fast beat, we move the fingers, and the way the cartilages and bones gets involved in it, along with the muscles that are involved in the movement of this finger. It's a great study, and apparently, since you did last time fMRI, this year we did MRI study of the ragas effect on the brain of the listener. That we did
Yes.
it. The results are amazing. The
Exactly.
results are amazing. And I tell you, we are fortunate that we have association with a person like you, because who is a musician and also a physician, music physician. It is a very good word, which gets attached to itself. You are a music physician, which is good.
And so this particular study, which I'm going to present in our upcoming conference, my idea is that it should percolate to the next generation artists, so that
Correct.
I mean they can make, the whole idea is to the good work that is done has to percolate to the next generation through a unique conference of this nature.
Thank you very much for being a part of this, and we love to have you every year, having a lot of studies. And this year we will be forming a team with you. We have doctors here who is going to get involved with you. We will all form one team to study about Venas and these things like that, to present it in the next future conferences. So thank you very much. Looking forward for your great presentation in our conference here. We wholeheartedly welcome you to Veena Tattva Prakashika 2022 4th edition. Namaskaram.
Right.
Lakshmi Narasimha.